Hey, everybody. Welcome to Open the Gates. I'm your host, Matt Burke, and tonight we're going to be having on the legendary Mike Barron. He's going to be talking about his awesome new book, Florida Man versus Hogzilla. And you guys can check it out. If you got the link pinned to the top, you can go right to the site and back it right now. So if you guys could give a warm welcome to Mike, that'd be awesome. How's it going, Mike? How you doing?
Doing good, Matt.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah, how's the weather out there where you're staying?
Well, it's in the 50s. It's been bitterly cold. A couple of mornings passed, but it's not too bad right now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, over here it's been raining all day. I'm over here in sunny Southern California.
Get out now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. No, it's been nice though. It's nice to get some of that rain, and just kind of fostering in the new year. Dusting stuff off, doing some spring cleaning, and yeah, a lot of good things coming forward in the new year. I can't wait to kick it off good, man. And yeah, I see Florida Man's versus Hogzilla. You only got a few more days left on here, and a couple more bucks to go, and you're there, right?
Yeah, we'd love to hit that stretch goal of 25 G's. We're only a couple thou down, and anybody who knows my work knows that I deliver an exciting and heartfelt story, and you'll laugh out loud. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I picked up your I haven't read Florida Man yet, but I don't know, like it looks really cool. I saw the first one and I was just like, wow, that looks like something else. Like what was some of your inspiration for that? Because it looks like a different type of comic altogether,
Are you talking about the novel or the comic?
The comic.
Every time I went online, there was another Florida Man story. And the first one that always comes to mind is Florida Man claims syringe found in rectum is not his. And I mean, that's typical of so many of them that are a little sleazy and borderline disgusting. But that's not what the book is about. Certainly, Gary is a ludicrous character. He's a redneck living in a trailer down by the swamp. He's got a hair-triggered temper. He likes to get high. He likes to get stoned. He's been in and out of trouble his whole life, but he's got a heart of gold, and he give you the shirt off his back. So the stories veer wildly from one situation to the next. And the challenge, of course, is to put Gary in the most absurd situation imaginable, because that's the height of humor. The height of humor is absurdity. And the base of humor, the lowest form of humor, are puns. And there are no puns in the book, but there are things you'll laugh out loud at. And the new adventure starts with him accepting a job for a shady character who's hiring him to smuggle 100 red-kneed tarantulas into the country. Apparently, people prize these as collector's items or even pets, but they're illegal to import. So Gary says, well, how am I going to do that? He says, you're going to fly down to Mexico City. You're going to pick up a suitcase and bring it back. And Gary says, well, what if they get out of the suitcase mid-flight? And his patron says, don't worry. They're in a sealed suitcase. You check them through. There's no way they can get out of the suitcase.
Yeah, no way.
And that's just the start. I mean, that barely touches the whole story, because it veers crazily from ups and downs. And every Gary Duba adventure is similar in this way, that he goes from rags to riches to rags to riches to rags to riches. He's always trying to figure out his next get-rich-quick scheme. And some of the schemes he hatches in this new adventure are going to leave you gasping like a gaffed fish on the pier.
It's weird too. It's like that with like a lot of rich people. Sometimes like you'll meet him, like I was a millionaire once and then I lost everything and then I got it back. And I hear those stories all the time, like real people in real life,
especially lottery winners, and Gary's a lottery winner in the first book. He wins $6 million. He spends $5 million on a mansion and the other $1 million on coke, hookers, partying, and booze and cars. And he's having a big party at his house when the cops show up and say, we're getting complaints. And Gary's high as a kite. He's flying on the nose candy. And he says, we're not causing any trouble. And the cop says, yeah, you're going downtown. And Gary shoves him. So the cop throws him to the ground. And his girl, Crystal, sees this from inside the mansion. and she grabs the nearest thing she has at hand and flies out the door and starts whacking cops with it. And that's how she becomes known as the Black Dildo.
Oh, wow.
Because
Oh,
her girlfriend tapes it and puts it up on the internet and gets like 2 million views in the next hour. And so because she's now known as the Black Dildo, this wrestling promoter reaches out to her and says, have you thought about women's wrestling? And so she goes into women's wrestling. And there's, of course, there's wrestling in every book, and there's wrestling in the new one.
Are you a wrestling fan at all by any means?
Well, I'm a big MMA fan. I don't know much about wrestling, but I have a lot of respect for professional wrestlers. I know it's not real combat, but it's certainly a very physical endeavor, and you don't want to pick a fight with any of those guys. But it's a drama, you know. It's a play that's staged
100%.
beforehand. They rehearse a lot of those moves because the purpose of professional wrestling is to provide a larger than life morality tale. It's kind of like a fairy tale with a good guy and a bad guy, and to entertain.
Kind of like a comic a little bit. Sometimes
That's
you got
right.
the good guy and the bad guy.
That's right.
And there's more, like there's actually comics coming out now too, like with wrestling themed ones, you know, and I've read a couple of them.
There have always been comics devoted to wrestlers.
Yeah. I remember when the Ultimate Warrior, he had a documentary. He put one out recently, actually, on the biography channel or on the YouTube channel, but from back then, and they look pretty cool, very 90s. Yeah, it's a cool documentary about the Ultimate Warrior. For Florida, man, like it's weird. Do you live in Florida, or do you?
No, but I've been there many times.
Okay, so
I'm going to be there again in February.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it seems like a cool place to live. I mean, I live out here in like Long Beach, California area, and I'd probably love to live there even, man. What do you think it is? Do you think it's something in the water there, like all the insanity? Like what is it, you know?
I think that Florida is the dirty sock where all the loose nuts and crumbs fall from the rest of the United States. I don't know what it is. But they certainly have a preponderance of Florida men, and we've all seen the stories, and Florida women too. And one is more outrageous than the next. The reason I wrote it is because every time I went online, there was a new Florida man story. And finally I said, well, this is just begging for a novel. And it's by far my most popular novel.
I even think like the way you're describing, I'm like, dang, that'd be a kind of a cool movie too, you know?
It would be.
I'm just seeing these play out in my head the way you're describing these, you know? I don't know, man. Like, and then you have like that Bermuda Triangle that's right there, you know, like that's all those different crazy stories over there. And then, oh, hey, what's up, Shadow Punk? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, man. And I was watching this show called Wrinkles the Clown. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was like this urban, like kind of like an urban myth, and he's from Florida. And they did a documentary of him. It's on Tubi. It's worth the watch. Definitely worth the watch. It's about an hour long. And we did on this horror movie club I do with Brian Kreisgau every week on Thursday. And we were talking about your book on there. It was probably about a month ago. And I was like, man, I wonder if he would put Wrinkles the Clown in there. And what Wrinkles would do is he was like this old, like the shtick was he was this old, like retired clown that would come and scare people. And so there was pictures of him all over the internet. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
well, I'm familiar with the scary clown trope.
That's what it is. And so it originated from Wrinkles. And yeah, I was just thinking like, dang, that would be something maybe in a Florida Man book or something like the character could pop up in there.
Well, we haven't had any clowns yet, but we have had people dressed up in Wacky World suits like Regis Gator and Rapid Rabbit. Wacky World is Florida Man's version of Disneyland.
Oh, okay. So, and that's like a world that you've created for the Florida Man universe. Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the third Florida Man graphic novel, which is way down the pike, I've already written the first part of the story, and they go to Wacky World. It's the funniest thing I've ever written. And if it gets produced, it'll be the funniest thing you ever read. I mean, it's just a howl.
Oh yeah, man. They have like this these YouTube channels where they have abandoned, like haunted amusement parks worldwide. Like you can check them out.
Ooh,
Very
yeah,
interesting.
those are creepy.
I seen this one that was in Russia where it was an abandoned a track of mini mansion castles, but they were never finished. And it's
I'm gonna have to check that out.
yeah, like they're just fun to watch. Very inspirational for comics and stuff like that. What about the skunk ape, man? Do you think that might ever make its way through through the Florida Man books?
The who?
The skunk ape, the cryptid from Florida.
Oh, geez, I just heard about that for the first time today. Believe it or not, another friend mentioned it. I wasn't aware of that. You know that in the 40s there was a guy that made these giant cast iron shoes that looked like a monster's hoof print.
Oh wow!
And he went down on the beaches and tromped around at night, and people got all excited, and they thought it was a cryptid for years, and was like many years later he said it was me, and he produced one of the giant iron shoes.
Oh wow! That's probably what maybe the Bigfoot guys were, that found that footage. Those two gentlemen, they're out in the woods and they fall over the famous Bigfoot thing. Allegedly, like it might have been somebody in the suit, but they're always arguing over that and whatnot. But I don't know. I gotta ask you a question though, man. What's your favorite? I know you're into to music a lot. I watch your channel a lot, man. If you guys haven't subbed to Mike's channel, it's Mike Barron. He's got some great
please
videos.
Sub. I talk a lot about writing. There's a lot of good information for people who are interested.
Oh yeah, I'm always listening to that on the way home from work. I put it on, listen to it. A lot of knowledge in there. And
well, thank you, sir. This is Mike Barron YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't have it up here, but I'll put it. I'll go back and put it in the description after the show. What do you think about music as it relates to comic books? Do you think that there's a commonality with the rhythms of music and comics and storytelling?
There is. First of all, there's a lot of comics that are devoted to music, like the Kiss comic, which I wrote.
Oh wow!
And comics devoted to great blues artists, but that's not the similarity. The similarity is this: that a good story has to be like a good pop song, in the sense that it has dynamics, and that means the situation is in flux, and that means a good song has to have at least 3 chords. And the best songs by guys like the Beach Boys, the Beatles, and the Byrds.
Oh yeah.
have a bridge and a hook. The bridge creates tension because it's at odds with the main melody, and the hook resolves the tension. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And we've all heard songs like that. I'd hum one, but I'm a terrible singer. But those are the type of people. Those are the type of bands that I'm talking about. It's called power pop. That was a term coined by Pete Townsend of The Who. And it really refers to popular music that has an upbeat rhythm and a melodic sense and harmonies, always harmonies if they can do it, so that it makes you feel good. And every year I say it, and every year it's true. This has been one of the greatest years for pop rock in history, but you would never know it reading the magazines and watching the so-called award shows,
right?
Because it's all underground. There's no major music industry anymore. They don't know whether to shit or go blind.
Yeah.
The music that they push off on us is stuff that's proven to sell, like Taylor Swift. And I've never heard Taylor Swift, so I can't comment on her music. But I'm assured that they're songs, and I'm gratified by that.
Right.
Because I have no use for rap.
Yeah, I'm not into that. I've always been into a lot of music. I like metal and I play metal, but I listen to everything. That way I could kind of keep my, I don't know.
Well, I have a lot of respect for Def Leppard and Black Sabbath, because those bands understand the importance of a good melody. They play hard. They have that super electronic sound to them, but they also construct.
Yeah.
a good song, and they know what a bridge and a hook is. Like I'm always thinking about Styx, Too Much Time on My Hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too much time on my hands. Do, 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 do. And then there's the hook, which is the chord that resolves the tension. And
Yeah.
if you listen to pop music, I don't see how you can avoid it. You
Oh
know
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Like growing up, we listened to the Eagles, the Beatles. We also listened to a lot of country music, but also yeah, man, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, the Beach Boys a lot, man. They're playing that a lot. And growing up, like I don't know if you saw the movie about I forgot who was in it. It was John Cusack and another actor played one of the. I just recently
Are you
found out.
talking about Love and Mercy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but a guy at work told me about it like a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, man, like because they got all the hits, you know, like the powerful hits and the melodies that they could pull off, the harmonies with their voices is iconic and just, you know, very melancholic but addicting. But all the songs that never hit the radio are just interesting, you know. Like for me, I hear you say the word power pop a lot in some of your videos, you know, and I think that's a good term to describe some of those bands. But a lot of these bands have really killer songs that never hit the radio, you know, and I love listening
It's true,
to.
and it's especially true of the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, which
Yeah,
is their masterpiece. And if you don't have that record, I urge everyone to go get it because it's similar to Sgt. Pepper in its sweep and grandeur, although it's a lot more melancholy. It is melancholy, but the songs are unforgettable.
mm. for for well, there's another question I had to ask you. What's your favorite band or your favorite music artist?
Matt, how about 100?
I know it's hard, right? Yeah.
I love Jellyfish, Brad Marino, Kurt Baker. Hang on a second. You know, I write about music a lot, and
Paul Dano.
because I get the free records. It started out many years ago.
So you're a vinyl collector, huh?
No, I was a vinyl collector, and I sold all my vinyl, and I'm very unhappy about that. I wish that I hadn't, but I've managed to replace everything with CDs by now, and I'm not going to go pure digital. I'll never go pure digital, because when that giant Chinese electromagnetic pulse hits, you won't be able to access anything.
All right.
All right. There's a record called Hidden Symphonies by Marco Joachim. It'll blow your mind. It's like he set out to duplicate Sgt. Pepper in another universe. And by that, I don't mean he copies any of those songs. It's all original, but it is so Sgt. Pepper-like. You won't believe it. It's Marco Joachim, Hidden Symphonies.
Check that out.
I see some other bands here. The Genuine Fakes. It's a Swedish band. They're great power pop. Radio Days.
That's crazy.
Radio Days is an Italian rock band that's great power pop. Bill Majoros, the Foreign Films. He's Canadian. He's like Mozart, only pop. I can't recommend him too highly. Scott Gagner. Superlux. They have a sound all their own. It's terrific stuff. These are all brilliant records, brilliant bands, and some of them they never hit it big.
Yeah,
there's a band called the Pillbugs, which does some of the greatest psychedelic rock you've ever heard, but they never busted through, even though their records are beyond brilliant. They're more than deserving of gold records status, but they don't have the big machines, the big music machines to push them these days like they did in the past.
Right.
You know, when the Cars came along, RCA said, yeah, we're going to get behind this band. And same with bands like, what's that band from Boston? I don't mean Boston.
There's a lot of bands from Boston too. It's funny you say that because, I mean, just in different genres, you know, like a lot of really good bands came from Boston, you know.
Well, I love jazz too, and I love jazz rock, and I like bluegrass, and the older I get, the more I like country.
Yeah, me too. Like I really, well, like growing up, Roy Orbison was always my favorite, and he's pop. He's almost like power pop, but country, you know. And he kind of no one really touched him in that area. I mean, there's a lot of new cats that do that, but he still kind of holds it.
Have you heard Morgan Wallen, Seven
Mm-mm.
Summers?
No,
Oh man, I'm going to put that in the chat because I want everybody to check this out.
Nice. Yeah, man. Yeah, Roy Orbison was really awesome. Johnny Cash, Hank Williams the third, or Hank Williams. Sorry,
I don't get Hank Williams the second. Yes,
the first.
Hank Williams the third. No,
he does some cool stuff on some metal albums. So Brian Kreiska in the chat. What up, man? Physical media for the win. All my millennial friends used to be baffled by all the books, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, etc. But now with all the censorship, they're starting to get it. Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, I was still a band to do a CD. People come to their shows and they like the band and they say, "Okay, where's your record?" And they don't want to be given a download code.
No, it's kind of weird, and it's less. It's more like you're connecting with them more. It's more intimate. You know what I mean? Like, hey, dude, check this out. And for me, like, I always wanted to get into vinyl. I still don't have vinyl. You know, I'm a CD guy. I got like hundreds of CDs. You know, and that's just how it is. But the vinyl is like the pristine. Like for me, CDs are like barbecue, boombox. You know, drinking beers, and then for me, vinyl is like you're sitting back with like some wine or a brandy. You know, or so. And then the art is so big. You know, when you take it out, and that for me, I love that. I love that. You know, and my dad, he's a drummer. He's a syncorated jazz drummer. So he kind of got me onto jazz at a young age, like with Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich, you know.
I saw Buddy Rich.
Oh, really? That's nice. Yeah, I was just always thought, man, since you're into music, there's something about drummers, man. Like you got to be like something primal about them and their personalities. I've worked with a lot of drummers. I don't know what it is, but for you to actually get two sticks and just beat on something and come up with all these different rhythms and whatnot. It's really amazing actually. But different, yeah, they have strange personalities, drummers, they do. Jellyfish, check them out.
Jellyfish was hugely influential. They only put out 2 records, but when you hear Jellyfish Spilt Milk, you'll be knocked out. Again, it's a masterpiece. Every song on it is brilliant. You can't stop listening. The type of music that commands your attention to hear everything that's going on, but it's got it all. The soaring melodies, the harmonies.
When you're writing, do you listen to any music at all?
No, I don't. I concentrate totally on what I'm writing. I listen to music driving around in my car, and that's another reason I insist on CDs. Yeah, because I spend a lot of time in my car, and I have a notebook open. And when I listen to the CD, I make notes.
Right.
When I come to a complete stop,
right. Man, I got a newer car, and I'm used to putting my CDs in. You know what I mean? And these newer cars, there's no CD player, and the wife's telling me, "Hey, you could buy like a CD player and plug it in there and have that." You know, like a little. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do that because I'm kind of an album guy. You know, I like to listen to my albums. You know, sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I want to jump to my the one song on there, but I need to get all the new cars, man. They're like that. No driving and riding, Mike. Shazam. Foreign. Oh, okay. Yeah, man. What do you do? So you're writing this stuff down, and I think that's cool that like you carry around like a notepad, you know, always for ideas. I've heard that from writers all the time. I'm starting to use my phone. So sometimes I'll come up with an idea for something. Doesn't mean it's going to be good or bad, but I'll put it down on my phone.
And that's where I review records now is Remember the Lightning on Substack. And I also have my own column on Substack, mikebarron.substack.com.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll have to put that in there too. You can put a record player in your car too, Shadowpunk says.
Yeah, well, you can put a turntable in your car, and custom cars in the 60s did have turntables. The problem with that obviously is you hit a bump in the road and it all jounces around.
Totally. Do you have like a habitual ritual, like something that you do before you start writing?
No.
Or you just kind of hit it, just kind of go right for it. What do you do like to say you get writer's block? What do you do to combat that, or to kind of go for it?
I switched to another project.
That's a good idea. That's kind of what I do. Like, cause I'm not really a writer, but I write. I'm mostly into drawing and stuff like that. But what I've started doing, because I worked on the same book for like 10 years. And so now last year I started taking a break, and now I'm working on multiple different things. So if I get kind of burned out on one thing, I go to another thing. It kind of keeps the juices flowing. So that's the same thing you do. Speaking of juices flowing, I have I have a link to your Hogzilla or Florida Man versus Hogzilla campaign. If you like, I could share it. Maybe we could go over it a little bit for the fun.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Just give me one moment. Yeah, I always like to ask people, you know, like what their processes are, and you being Mike Barron and all, I got to know what you do, you know. So,
well, I do have a piece of advice, which is that carry a notepad and pen with you at all times, and write down anything that strikes you as interesting that might pertain to a story. If you're an interesting name or an interesting turn of phrase, write it down.
That's cool, man, because you never know when you're going to use it. And that's it right there, folks. Florida Man versus Hogzilla. The campaign ends in just a few days. We're almost there. We're at 22. We need to get to 25. So come over and check this out. As you can see, there's a plethora of different places you can back this. 72 pages of full color, 4 mind-blowing covers right here. Let's go ahead and jump on over to I do got to say too, I came over here and I picked up a couple of Mike's books on this shop right here. I got the Private American and Bronze Star. I haven't read Bronze Star yet, but I love Private American.
Can you play the video?
Oh yeah, for sure. Here we go.
There is a creature in the swamps who has survived thousands of years of evolution. It lives to destroy. A mindless, eating machine. The beast they call Hogzilla.
After his latest get-rich scheme goes sideways, Gary Duba, the quintessential Florida man, ends up with a stash of somebody's high-end memorabilia. His gal Crystal is on probation and preparing for the fight of her life, squaring off against Australia's Queen of Combat. Delilah's got her back in training, staying off rich foods and the nose candy. Meanwhile, Gary and his best friend Floyd have been hired to wrangle a massive, abnormally aggressive feral hog that's terrorizing the swamp and wrecking Gary's old neighborhood. Can they bag the elusive monster swine without destroying the Sunshine State? Reserve your copy of Florida Man vs. Hogzilla at FloridaManComics.com. We're bringing back funny books, y'all.
That's awesome, man. I like the
Chris Brawley put that together.
I like that. And yeah,
thank you.
Come on over here, guys. Check this out. You also have the I was going to check out the Fund My Comics spot real quick if you'd like. Pretty awesome. Let's see here. Is there really hogs that big?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
One of those in the video, one of those is a photograph of a real 1,000-pound feral hog that was shot in Georgia.
Oh man. And here we have the Fund My Comics page right here for Florida Man 2. Some really awesome artwork. That hog just taking out an alligator right there, huh? Like that. Got some really cool tiers right here. It's $10 for the digital. You can get 1 through 3 right there too as well. And then you got the bundle for both books. You got the Florida Man cover A by Weldon for $25. It's an awesome cover. Cover B. Got the,
Matt drew this issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Sweet. You got the Kill Bill Volume 1 or Kill Bill homage cover. What do you think of Kill Bill, Mike?
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is his masterpiece.
Yeah, I think that one's probably my favorite. I do like Kill Bill Volume 1 the best. I mean, out of the 2 Kill Bill movies. And right here, you got the Florida Man cover right there. That's the Chevy Chase National Lampoon's Vacation homage cover, huh? I like that one a lot. And then you got the Florida Man cover D by Pat Broderick, I believe. And,
yes. Yes.
I like
so
that.
Shadowpunk points out that Quentin hates Bruce Lee. Well, I believe he holds Bruce Lee in disdain. And everybody reveres Bruce Lee because he introduced Kung Fu to the West, not by himself, but he was largely instrumental. And because he was a great on-screen presence and a great action character. But in real life, he was brash and condescending and didn't have much of a sense of humor. So there is a bit of catharsis in that scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is kind of based on an encounter that Bruce Lee had with Gene LaBelle, the great Gene LaBelle, whom they call the godfather of grappling. And when they actually met, Gene LaBelle outweighed Bruce Lee by 50 pounds. He picked Bruce Lee up and started running around with Bruce on his shoulder. And Bruce said, "Set me down or I'll kill you." And Gene LaBelle says, "I can't set you down. You'll kill me." And that actually happened. And they parted friends, by the way.
It's crazy, like the stories about Bruce Lee. And I also know that Robin, was it Burt Ward or Fred Ward from the original Batman TV show? They were buddies. Did you know about that?
No, I'm not surprised.
So I guess he had some stories. I guess they lived at one point they lived in the same apartment building. They used to go out and do all kinds of stuff, and he actually taught him some moves allegedly. He sells dog food for Great Danes, I guess. It's called Gentle Giants. And they sell it all over, and it's supposed to really help the life of the animal of dogs, extending the life. Then you have the original Florida Man right here, the reissue.
Oh, and if you see that sign there, the poster by Minori Rogue, which shows Crystal blocking out the words which are her informal title because there's
okay.
But now you know what they say.
Now I know you're talking. If you had to like say, because I can't really think of any comic book that this relates to, like genre wise. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff going on in there. Like I'm trying to. No, I mean the only thing it kind of like it feels very cinematic in some ways in my head when I'm trying to picture.
It's a total original.
It's really cool.
And it is funny. I mean, they call them comic books, but how often have you actually laughed out loud at a comic book?
You know, Mike, that was something else I was going to bring up too. Is like, there's not that many comic books that are funny anymore. You know, as a kid growing up, I love my comics. You know, I had my Batman and my Sabretooth, and you know, but I was really into Mad and Cracked magazines growing up. You know, and those were real knee smackers. But nowadays it just seems like, man. I mean, I know Cecil put out Cash Grab. I got that one. I know that's gonna.
That's funny.
I know that's gonna be funny. I haven't read it yet. I got a bunch of books I got to do reviews on, but man, I don't know, man. There really isn't any like you were saying, any comics that are actually putting out comedy anymore, right?
Very few. I always try to include a little humor in every story I do because that's life.
Exactly. Like, and you meet characters. You meet people that are you'd be afraid to fight Muhammad Ali, Bruce. You meet people that you can't write certain people. You know what I mean? Like even if you think of some in the White House, you know, like some of the stuff they do, you know, you couldn't like think of that stuff. It writes itself, you know. Let's see here. Yeah, Bruce Ward. Yeah, Great Dane Rescue. Yeah, they got Bruce Ward has like 30 Great Danes in his house. Him and his wife. They help out. Yeah, Dillard makes the Buckler was pretty funny. I forgot about the Buckler. That one was also really good. Hell, same person. How you doing? And then right here, you have both books. You can do the catch up tier. This is the one I would recommend for anyone that's new to the Florida Man universe. Pick up 1 and 2 right there. You can get both books. you know. And then you got the autograph bundle by Mike Barron. It's awesome too. Well, look at this. You got some T-shirts right here. I wouldn't mind having one of those hats and those T-shirts. The beach party bundle. Show up on the beach with in style, and then you have all the covers right there, so you guys can get those. And you got the retail bundle, man. That's really cool that you offer that.
Yeah, well, there should be a central clearinghouse so that comic shops can buy in bulk all the books that are being crowdfunded now to fill the gap that's being left by the big two.
Right.
And I say that because I haven't read really a regular Marvel comic in years, except I did buy a copy of Captain America and a copy of the new Master of Kung Fu, just to see if they held any entertainment value. But they have driven away their audience by forgetting the number one rule, which is it's their job to entertain, and the books don't entertain. But the books that people outside of the rigid formal industry, and that includes Comicsgate, many of the books that the Comicsgate people are producing are highly entertaining. Like this one by Aaron Lopresti. I was surprised to learn Aaron Lopresti can write very well.
Oh yeah, Wraith of God.
Yeah.
That was for me. That was the best book I read last year. I got the sequel to it, Blood Hunters. I can't wait to read that. I thought he did a great job of just telling like a really good meat and potatoes story that just packs everything in. You get your beginning, your middle, your end, and he doesn't leave anything, just a tiny little breadcrumb, tiny little something for the next book. I think that's really hard to do that, and just the art really just, I don't know, man. It kind of reminds me of Bernie Wrightson a little bit. Some of the old EC comics. I really love that book.
Well, if you like Bernie Wrightson, you got to like Kelly Jones.
Oh yeah, I love Kelly Jones. I had him and Matt Wagner on here a couple weeks ago for their Dracula book. That was a fun one. Let's see here. They're great for solving paranormal my theories. Let's see here. And you got the CGC rated edition. Those are always cool. But yeah, I really love the artist on here, man. You said this was Matthew Weldon.
That's right.
Yeah, it's really lots of fun, They got the beach party bundle, $200. You get everything. Oh, and you got to appear in the story tier, huh? Drawn in a Florida Man page.
That's right.
That's cool. That's really cool. Oh wow, this guy's gonna go into town with the katana, huh?
That's Matt. I mean, Matt's the artist.
Yeah.
That's Gary on the mower.
I like that. Oh.
That's Crystal on the shitter with the problematic snake that keeps appearing in the toilet. And it all pays off in the new Florida Man comic.
I like that plunger he's got right there.
Yeah.
That'll keep the snakes out. Well, come check this out, guys. We got it on Fund My Comic. You also have it on Kickstarter and on Indiegogo. Yeah, man, Florida Man. Is there any other books that you have coming out recent in the works?
Yeah, we can only do one at a time. But the next book that we're doing is a brand new Nexus graphic novel that's illustrated by Kelsey Shannon.
Oh, wow.
It's a masterpiece, and it is done. The artwork is completely done. When you see it, it will blow your mind.
I can't wait to check it out because I'm new to Nexus. I mean, I've read like a short story that was in the back of the third Jawbreakers. And that was like last week. And I'm like, oh, I like this character. I've never seen him. I know you created him. And I can't wait to check out that character. Also Badger. I've heard good things about that. That's another book. Are you going to be doing any more Badger stories in the future?
Yes, I'm planning a big graphic novel. I don't know how soon we're going to get to it because I have a pipeline in which I produce my books. And Chris
Smart.
Brawley handles my marketing. Chris is a genius. He puts those videos together.
Yeah, man.
As I said, we can only do one book at a time, and each campaign takes about 3 months.
Yeah.
So at best, I can do 4 books a year. And right now, it looks like Nexus, and following that is going to be Nexus Remastered, and that's going to be the first 3 black and white issues completely colored for the first
Oh, wow.
time by Kelsey Shannon.
That's cool.
And following that is Sherlock Holmes meets Captain Nemo. And
Oh,
that
wow.
is done now. That is done too. The art is finished by Richard Bonk.
Well, I
It's
like
the
Bonk.
greatest work of his career.
I liked his Private American. That was good.
Well, he should have been doing steampunk a lot earlier because there's something about this subject matter
Oh,
that
okay.
caused him to explode, and your head will explode when you see the art. And then, of course, we have Thin Blue Line #2,
Oh,
which is in
okay.
the works. And then we have another Nexus graphic novel in the works. I'm trying to think of what all we got going on.
Well, I saw you dropped a Bronze Star 2 pick today on the Twitter.
Well, it's true. We have Bronze Star 2 in the works, and Pat is illustrating that right now. He's about 10 pages in. And as I've said before, and anybody who's seen the book knows,
Yeah.
this is the greatest work of Pat's career. It's just mind-numbing, and that's why we produce this giant, oversized black and white edition, so you can see the art. It's just dazzling because Pat doesn't just draw the heads up front that are talking.
Yeah.
He draws the scene, and if it's a scene of a town, you see the buildings in all their details with their signs winding back towards the hills in the background. And you see the hills in the background and the trees on the hills. And beyond that, the mountains. It's just astonishing.
It's really immersive. I remember you showed like a little teaser. Like we did a little Western show a couple years ago. And I remember you showed a little bit of that. And then a little, there might be a werewolf in here. And that just sold me, man. Like, because Westerns is one of my favorite genres, and I love werewolves. So, man, you got a lot of stuff coming up, man. I'm excited for all of it. I'd love to. I can't wait to read it all.
Thank you.
A lot of people, again, you're one of those guys out there like Michael Bancroft, Graham Nolan, Billy Tucci. You guys are sticking, to your guns and sticking your schedules and just getting your stuff out, man. People like me, take inspiration from that. It's cool to see that. Brian Kreisgau says Weird West is really catching steam in the scene. It's cool, man. Like I think there's some relatable things to the West right now, as far as certain ideals, in the world. It's a real back to basics approach in some ways.
I agree.
And I love, like when I was a kid, I hated Westerns. I couldn't stand it. My grandparents would always have Bonanza on and stuff. And now I just love it. Like anything, I don't care what kind of subgenre of Western, if it's on, I'm like glued to the TV. I don't know what it is. I just really love Westerns. I got to ask you, Mike, what's your favorite movie?
The Godfather.
The Godfather, huh? Oh, that's usually I usually get Godfather 2.
That's just an extension of The Godfather. I could put them both together, but to me, it's the greatest movie ever made.
What did you think of his Dracula?
I've never really seen it, Matt, so I can't comment.
That's my one of my top favorite movies, just because they use all the old school filming techniques and whatnot from like the 1900s. Bram Stoker's Dracula won 4 Oscars. It's really good, and the score in there is terrific. What's your favorite? If you had to pick, like, what's your favorite comic to write? You have like a favorite character or something?
Well, geez, that's a tough one. But I rather write my own characters than anybody else's. I would say Badger.
Yeah.
And I do have a big graphic novel. It's written. I have an artist. I can't announce it yet because it's so far down the pike. It's worth waiting for because I think it's the best Badger story I've ever told. I'll tell you the title. It's called Badger Beats the Devil.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty
And that's
metal.
what it's about.
That sounds pretty awesome. And from my understanding, Badger, he's like does a lot of martial arts. Is that correct?
Only one personality, the Badger, of 7 different personalities, is a martial arts master. But yes, it's true. It's one of the things I've always tried to do in my comics is to portray the natural arts in a realistic, dynamic, and
Yes.
entertaining manner. And by that, I mean, I want you to see the technique unfold.
Yes.
And I don't want it to just be a punch or a kick, because there's
Yes.
a lot more to martial arts than that. There are takedowns and joint locks. And I want to show that in a comic in such a way that the reader will appreciate the action for what it is,
Yeah.
which is something he may never have seen before, and say, and it's real, and that will work.
Yeah, I love that. I think it might have been from one of your videos, or someone told to me that Badger has like, the lot of breakdowns in the panels, you know what I mean, in the
Yep.
sequential art. And I love that. Like, I know in comics, a lot of the time we're supposed to have like the wind up and then the guy flying through the wall, For me, I'm all about the connect. I like to see every little detail. Like, I love that in comics, and not a lot of people do that. So when I heard that Badger has that in it, I was really interested. I guess that kind of also falls obviously back to your writing, because even in Private American, you see like just little things, where kind of shows how he's taking guys out and things like that, which I really dug that. I thought that was cool.
Thank you.
Oh, for sure. Do you have a favorite drink, like a favorite beer that you like?
I haven't had a drink in years, and it's not because I want to be a teetotaler. I don't. But drinking was interfering with my sleep, so I gave it up. I had maybe 1 drink last year. I would love to be able to drink again, but I don't want to drink and stay up drinking, because I know I won't sleep well. And I've always had trouble sleeping, and now I'm sleeping pretty well, so I don't drink. I had to give it up.
Oh, no, that's good.
But if you're asking my favorite beer, it's Odell's Mercenary Ale.
Odell's Mercenary Ale, huh?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one, because I'm always trying new
Odell's
beers.
is a local brewer.
Oh,
they're
really?
a very fine brewer. It's a big brewery. There are 29 microbreweries in town here.
Wow.
And they're all good.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to check that one out. I'll like notate that in the replay. I don't know, because like I do little reviews on the books that I back, and I usually try to find a cool little beer to kind of pair it up with it. And I don't know, that's always a cool thing. For your writing, man, like who was some of your main influences when you were growing up as a kid, or just coming up in?
Well, the number one influence, and the reason I'm writing today, is John D. MacDonald, this great American pulp author, created a character called Travis McGee. And my biker series was inspired by his Travis McGee series, which was probably inspired by Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe series, which is a uniquely American type, a tarnished knight whom down these mean streets must go, kind of a court of last resort for people who have been wronged and have exhausted all legal appeals. Josh Pratt is a reformed motorcycle hoodlum who went to prison, found God, and comes out determined to turn his life around. And I just turned in the 10th biker novel. It co-stars Chuck Dixon's Levon Cade. But if you want to check them out, they're all on Amazon. Just go to Amazon, you type in Biker by Mike Barron. I'm very proud of them. They're a huge hit with the noir community. They are modern noir. That's what I try to write.
Nice.
I have a unique perspective in that a lot of them takes place in the world of the modern motorcyclist, but a lot don't. It just happens that Josh is a biker, and he brings that ethos to everything that he does.
That's awesome. I'm doing a fantasy kind of Viking biker book right now. What did you think about Sons of Anarchy?
I loved it.
Yeah,
watched the whole thing.
Did you watch the spin-off show Mayans? I didn't check that one out yet.
Yeah, I tried to watch it. The magic was gone.
It's just something's missing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
know
were
that
trying too hard. I don't know what it was about that show. It's trying too hard. Didn't impress me.
Yeah, man. What do you, as far as like novels and comics, what's the big like takeaway, like the differences between the two? I know there is a big takeaway.
Well, it's a lot easier to write a comic than a novel.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, in a novel, a novel is many things. You have an opportunity there to paint a world in much greater detail than you do in a comic book. They deliver different payloads. I mean, both can do a great story. You can do a great comic, and people say, "Wow, that was a great comic." But a novel, you can go into much greater depth in people's personality. And
That's
also
true.
into the environment that they're in. One of the things that I've noted is that horror, its best mediums are movies and novels. Its worst medium is comics. We still love our horror comics. In fact, I just did one, Bronze Star. But the fact of the matter is that no one gets truly scared reading a comic.
It's hard.
Whereas if you're sitting in a movie and it's a good, scary movie,
Yeah.
it will scare you, and so will a novel, because a skilled writer will draw you into that world to the exclusion of all else. Whereas with a comic, you're sitting there in a lighted room and there are kids playing and
Yeah.
a car goes by outside.
Yeah.
But a movie theater, a movie has two huge advantages. Is
You're trapped.
one, it controls the pacing.
Yeah.
And two, it controls the sound. And you don't realize how important sound is to horror
Yep.
until you're
Yeah.
in a movie experiencing it. And then two examples, of course, are The Exorcist,
Oh yeah. It's a
when you
terrifying
first
movie.
hear Regan speak in the devil's voice, and
Those
also
movies, man.
Haunting, the black and white version based on the Shirley Jackson novel.
Never
There's
seen that.
there's no gore in it whatsoever. It's a black and white movie. It's all done with sound, and it'll scare the shit out of you.
What did you think of The Changeling with George C. Scott?
That's a great movie. That is
Okay, you
great.
liked it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that one. And we did that one the other day, and I like that one a lot. And it has a lot of the sound, even the metronome and whatnot, as it pertains to horror. But also, yeah, The Exorcist as a child, that movie scared the crap out of me. I only
Me
seen
too.
just the scene of her talking, and terrified me. Recently too, we did the Dario Argento's Suspiria, in which that movie is just an attack on the senses. Just it's crazy. You put the lights off and turn up the speakers and whatnot. So Brian Kreisky was telling me to watch it, and I did. I was the other night I had Tank Ferret on here, and we were talking about digital comics. And for me, the one thing I really like about digital comics, even though I don't buy them really, but I was reading Old Man Logan. My buddy Miguel showed me. It was the first digital comic I ever seen. But the one thing I did like about digital comics was the storytelling aspect of you don't see the right page. So whenever you're reading a comic book, the periphery always picks up the right page, and so it's a spoiler. So you're always having spoilers. With digital, you don't have that. You know what I mean? So I was just, what do you think about that?
I hadn't thought about that, but now I will.
But I never will, but it's always, for me, it's like when you're writing, like you can't get around, there has to be that spoiler in there, like from the periphery. And it's hard, like trying to do, a few pages. And I try to think about that, and it's like, I was telling Tank, like you have to, no matter what, it's going to happen. You're going to have like something big happen on that right page, I don't know but it was pretty cool. Like just talking about that, and bringing that up, Mercedes McCabbage smoking 1,000 cigarettes to get her voice primed for the demon. Yeah,
That
man.
sounds about right.
And you know what's funny? Like to bring it back to the similar thing, Exorcist 3. Wow, did you see that one?
Another one of my favorites.
And I think, and like the writer directed the movie. I thought that was you don't see that too much, And then George C. Scott, and it was just for me. I was like, hey, you like Hellboy and Constantine and Criminal Macabre and that occult detective? This is the movie to check out.
That's William Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist, directed that film. He wrote and directed it. It's also got a movie called The Ninth Configuration, which I recommend.
I'll have to check that out. And I think that movie, The Exorcist 3, has the scariest scene I've ever seen in any movie. It's just that long shot when the lady comes out of the room. I was like, oh my God, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on, Mike. there anything else you'd like to share or talk about?
Well, folks, if you're interested, follow me on Twitter at Bloody Red Baron. Follow me on Substack, Mike Baron on Substack, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mike Baron on YouTube.
Yeah, check out Mike's channel. I've already learned a lot from watching his channel, and there's a lot of really good tips on there, and it's freaking awesome. You guys go check it out. And thanks everybody that came and stopped by and go back Florida Man. I have it pinned to the top of the chat, so you guys can go right there. And you guys have a happy New Year. And always remember to be bold, be brave, and roll the bones to know your role. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Anytime.